What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today, we've got my friend's Dark Magician, my friend Lord Untime, or Untimely Lord Untie. His Magician Girl deck profile. I will say something before this. There is a card in here, right here, Typhoon. That's a placeholder for a second copy of Navigation. So yeah. Anyways, let's get right into the deck, shall we? So, starting us off, we have 3 copies of Berry Magician Girl. Berry Magician Girl, whenever she is normal summoned, you can add a Magician Girl monster from your deck to your hand, and then all of them have a similar effect, and whenever they're targeted by a card effect or targeted for an attack, you can summon another one. Barry summons one straight out of the deck, and then they all change their battle positions, and then cuts the attacking monster's attack in half, which, leads to a chain of, haha, can't do anything because your attack is gone. So next up, we have 3 copies of Chocolate Magician Girl. She has the effect to, once per turn, discard a card to draw a card. I think she has to discard a Magician Girl card, right? One spellcaster monster. So you pitch a spellcaster to draw a card. Cool. And then she summons out of the graveyard whenever targeted for anything. So yay, fun. Next up, we have our one-ofs, which is 1 lemon, which, if I remember correctly, you tribute 1 except yourself to add 1 from deck to hand, and then she summons from your hand. Then we have Apple, who can, once per turn, who, when targeted for an attack, summons a level 5 or lower from your hand, and then she floats when destroyed. She adds 3 Magician Girls from your graveyard to your hand when destroyed by battle or card effect. And then lastly, we have the Hand Trap Magician Girl herself, Kiwi Magician Girl. Pitch her from hand to have all your stuff gain 300 attack for each differently named Magician Girls on the field and in the graveyards. And then she has a continuous effect when she's on field to give everything protection from card effects. They cannot be destroyed, and your opponent cannot target them with card effects. So, pretty good. Oh, I just realized I am off-center. There we go. That's better. And then to finish off the the Magician Girls, we have Dark Magician Girl, and that slid. So, here are my friend's 2 ultra rare Japanese artwork Magician Girls that he so generously bought to pleasure people at locals whenever we used to have locals. I'm just kidding. He just likes the artwork. It's a cool artwork. Sadly, it's not in the TCG yet. Hopefully it will get a release soon. But everybody knows Dark Magician Girl's effect. She gains 300 attack for every Dark Magician and Dark Magician of Chaos, or Magician of Black Chaos, something like that, in both graveyards. So, yes. And then we also have 2 Palladium Oracle manas, not mahads, manas. She has a quick effect to summon herself from the hand whenever your opponent activates a card or effect that targets exactly one spellcaster you control. So you can special summon her, and then she can once per turn, and then she says once per turn, level summon her spellcasters cannot be destroyed by card effects. And then if she's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard. A lot of 2-ofs in this deck, I am noticing. Next up we have 2 Apprentice Illusion Magician. I actually know what this one does. You can discard a card to special summon her from the hand, and then when she's summoned, you can add a Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. And then she has a quick effect to send herself from your hand or field to the graveyard to boost your Dark Magician or a Dark Spellcaster by 2,000 attack points. Pretty neat. And now for the man, the myth, the legend himself. 2 copies of regular Dark Magician. Everybody know that Dark Magician just a 2,500 vanilla beater. So that's cool. And finally, out of the 2-of stage, we have Magician's Rod. The Rod. It basically searches any spell card that has Dark Magician in its text, and then it has a grave effect to summon itself back or something like that whenever you activate a spell card in your opponent's. I have no idea. I don't use it for that. And then to finish off the monsters in the deck, he runs Triple Ash Blossom. In my opinion, you could probably cut the Ash Blossoms for like an extra Kiwi or 2, because I think Kiwi's effect is pretty neat. It's actually a really good card to have live at all times, because as soon as all of your Magician Girl's effects resolves and you end on your last Magician Girl, which is more than likely Dark Magician Girl, you can pitch Kiwi to boost everything by 1,800 attack. And the fact that it's a soft once per turn, if you have multiples in hand, you can pitch multiple and boom, really big attack boost. So yes. So yeah, that's all of the monsters in the main deck, which is quite a hefty monster package, if I do say so myself. Next up are the spells we have of ourselves. Triple Secret Village, which is a very strong field spell. Just if you control a spellcaster, your opponent can't use any spell cards. Spell cards are a very big thing in the metagame. In fact, there are no trap cards really in the metagame except for like Imperm and Evenly. Yeah. So, nice. Next up, we have our Terraforming, because, let's search out the field spell that is a really strong floodgate. Also, the downside to Secret Village, if you don't control a spellcaster, I think you are locked out of spell cards, which is a bit or something like that. Hang on, let me reread it. Yep. So, if you don't have a spellcaster, you're under the lock. If you have a spellcaster, your opponent's under the lock. That's how it works. Next up, we have 1 Monster Reborn for Graveyard Revival plays. And then we have Raigek for board nuke, push for the OTK, even though really, you can technically kill your opponent on their turn if they attack into one of your Magician Girls. Like, they don't remove it by card effect. So, what you do is you just straight up they don't read your Magician Girl. You have at least one Kiwi in hand, and you just pop off, right? You just pop off, get all of your monsters on the board, and then bam, you pitch your Kiwi, or you pitch your second Kiwi, and you kill your opponent. Nice. Next up, for the Dark Magician stuff, he runs 2 Magical Circle, which, if you don't know what Magical Circle does, let me inform you, it's a very good card. Whenever it's activated, you look at the top 3, you don't excavate, you just look at them. So your opponent doesn't know what the top 3 cards of your deck are. And then you can add a Dark Magician or a card that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text from among them to your hand, and then you can place them back on top of your deck in any order you want. And then anytime you special summon Dark Magician, you can target a card your opponent controls and banish it. Don't destroy it. Banish it. Just straight out of the park. Banished. Bye-bye. Pretty good. And then he runs 2 copies of Untimely's because, yes, he does run fusion monsters for this card in the extra deck. So, it's just a fusion spell. That's all it is. Then he runs 2 copies of Veil, which is I don't want to say a worse monster reborn, because it's really not. You pay 1,000 life points to summon a dark spellcaster from your hand or graveyard. In my opinion, though, the whole 1,000 life point cost to just to Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl is a bit steep. If you throw in maybe a Demock or 2, this card isn't bad. I mean, you could just 1,000 life points summon Demock. Hi. Yes, hello. Demock is a great card. Anything destroyed by him is banished. But this is his build. And he might altercate it here and there, and I will have his channel down in the description below for this video. So, yay. And then, gosh, yeah, one of the best cards in his deck, and I'm not being sarcastic. 2 Dark Burning Magic. This card, I will admit, is a fantastic card. It is a quick play spell, so it is extremely versatile. You can use it on both players' turns, and the best part is, all you have to have on your board is Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. That does require setup, and it is a 3-card board nuke, because this destroys everything your opponent controls. And what sucks even more is you have to hope your opponent doesn't negate it, because it can be responded to. That's a downside to it, is that it can be responded to, but it's like, my opponent's in the battle phase. I wonder. It's good against anything that isn't meta relevant, but anything that is meta relevant probably has an imperm or a savage, right? If you nuke their board before they get to the savage, like nuke their board on the Aurora Dawn after the Deskbot ones are summoned, if people are still playing that combo, you basically end their turn there because their Deathsmile 1s, on summon go to the graveyard again, and you lose your Auroradon and your tokens, so you can't really continue your plays from there. And that is it for these spell cards. Pretty small spell package. Could definitely be a tad bit better, and for Veil, I'd throw in Demox. Demox are just good. And starting us off with the trap cards, I told him I would put in a second navigation, but I couldn't find my Dark Magician deck. So, 2 navigation. I'm just going to put the Typhoon backwards. If you don't know what it does, you can summon a Dark Magician from your hand, and then you can special summon a level 7 or lower Dark Spellcaster from your deck. And then if you control a Dark Magician while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card to target a card your opponent controls and negate its effect. So it's an in-graveyard negate for having a Dark Magician, which is really good. Next up, we have 2 Eternal Soul. If you don't know what this does, it's a really good Dark Magician card. I'll center again. Whoops. But it can do 2 things, and it also prevents your stuff from dying by card effect. And when this card dies, you lose your board, but having a once per turn special summon a Dark Magician on both players' turns, this card with Circle leads to 1 card banished on both players' turns, so I'd say it's a plus, and it can also summon your Dark Magician from the graveyard. Which is cool. And it's once per turn per copy, I believe. No, it's hard once per turn, so sadly it's a hard once per turn. But it searches Thousand Knives and Dark Magic attack. I would throw in maybe 1 of each into this deck over some other cards, but then again, this is his build. I'm not gonna be like, it's all wrong, don't build it like this, because you can build it like this and have fun. He has a lot of fun with his deck. He enjoys it. So it's a pretty good deck. I've played against it, and it was a bit of a challenge here and there, but yeah, it's Magician Girls. Sorry, my friend. And then lastly, 2 strike, just for negation. My friend group does not want to spend the $40 per copy on Infinite and Perm. So, yeah, we settle for the cheaper alternative of Solemn Strikes. So that is the whole main deck. Moving on to his very small extra deck. Ignore the goosebumps on my arms. We're going to start off the extra deck with his 2 Link Monsters. It is not a full 15 card extra deck. His deck is still in progress, but it is still a fun deck to play against. We have 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice, boost all dark by 500, decrease all light by 4, and then it floats into a dark monster from the graveyard back to your hand. Not bad. Next up, we have 1 Borreload, and this is it for the Link monsters. Everybody knows Borreload. Borreload used to be and now it's Boral Sword. That is the absolute nuts of the operations. Next up, we have the first fusion of the deck, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. She can't be summoned except by fusion summon, so that's great. Let me grab a drink right quick. I just bumped my mic. I am using my headset to record, so great. But and she has a quick effect to Not discard, but send a card from your hand to the graveyard to target a card in the field and destroy it. Quick effect. I think it's the soft ones. Yes, soft ones. I honestly will say this much. This is probably going to be one of the least summoned fusion monsters in the deck. Just because it's the weakest of all of them that are in the deck. Because next up we have Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. He's got a slightly better effect. He becomes Dark Magician on the field and in the graveyard. So you can summon him off of Eternal Soul when he dies. And then your opponent can't target any of your spells and traps in the graveyard. Or not in the any of your spells and traps in your back row. So it's like, hey, spells and traps can't die here. Pretty good. And then what does he do? Oh, that's it. Yeah, they can't be targeted or destroyed with card effects, so. Next up, we have Amulet Dragon. Everybody probably knows what Amulet Dragon do, but if you don't know... Sorry about that. My mom came out to put away a doggy toy. There's the center. Haha, I found it. Yeah, we're totally not like 21 minutes into this. But Amulet Dragon, whenever it's summoned, you can banish any number of spell cards out of your graveyard, which is really good in a deck that's heavy around spell cards. And he gains 100 attack for each one banished. All this card takes to be bigger than Blue Eyes is 2 spell cards in the graveyard, which is kind of sad, but it's great. And then when this thing dies, you get to... Oh god, what is it? You get to add a banished spell card to your hand, I believe. That's all it does, I think. Oh no, you target a spellcaster in your graveyard, you special summon it, my bad. And then lastly, we have Dark Paladin, who is marginally better than everything in the deck and can also be summoned off by Moas. So, Paladin. Yes. A non-once per turn, pitch a card to negate a spell effect. Pretty good. Gains 500 attack for every dragon monster on the field and in the graveyard. So, Dragon Link. Yay. So, yeah. This card makes Savage Dragon look little and have a tiny penis. Aside from that, the non-once per turn negate a spell by pitching a card. Pair this thing with Gnat Beast. If you don't want to mill yourself to death, but you still want to run Gnat Beast, find a way to make Gnat Beast and this card in the same deck. And yes, that would be great. And then starting us for the last 3 cards in the extra deck, which are all Xyz, we have Norito, the Immoral Leader. 2 level 6 spellcasters to make it, and it has a quick effect to detach, to negate a spell or trap. Yeah, negate and destroy it. And then we have 1 big eye, 2 level 7 monsters. It can once per turn detach a material to steal a monster your opponent controls, but it cannot attack the turn you steal it. But you know, you bait out the Savage negate. You make this thing. You steal their Savage if they don't have any more negates. And now you have a Savage equipped with a Link monster from their graveyard, which is great. Yeah. And then, last but not least, Flare Metal Dragon. One of my favorite levels, or rank 7 XEs. I think it's actually my favorite rank 7. Yes. It has a quick effect that only applies to red eyes, but has a floating effect. My dog is freaking out. But has a floating effect, or not a floodgatey effect, that whenever your opponent activates a card or effect, burn them for 500 points of damage. Not once per turn. Pretty good. Pretty good. So, yep. That is it for the extra deck. So, let's go into the outro. Alright guys, so if you did enjoy this deck profile, be sure to go down to the description, go to my friend's channel, and hit that subscribe button. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that pause again. Dad just went out to the mail. So, I'm going to try and wrap this up as fast as possible. So anyways, like I was saying, go down in the description, go to my friend's YouTube channel, and hit the subscribe button. Let's get him up there in subs. Come on. He was nice enough to let me do a deck profile over his awesome deck of Magician Girls, and I'm very thankful for that. Other than that, if you liked, please be sure to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bells so you get notified whenever I upload. And last but not least, I don't know, comment what you thought down below. Comment on my friend's YouTube videos and let them know I sent you. Peace.